Nika wakes up in 20th century England, and William, on the opposite bottom half of the page, wakes up in 40th century Atabithy? I don't know, whatever planet they're on. Things have gone so bananas that even the minor characters have changed worlds. In addition to trading places, Nika and William have also traded memories without any recollection of meeting each other or their past lives, save for some pretty unpleasant flashbacks. In Nika's new life, she's just returned from war and it has fucked her up. Much like William, Nika has some mad PTSD and hasn't felt like herself since she returned. Despite this, Commander Pohl wants to return to the field to investigate an artifact they found, which is actually Nika's 40th century spacesuit. The idea of this sends Nika into an existential depression so deep she agrees to taking medication that makes her feel like a zombie. Haha, the more things change, am I right? Then, back in her room, as she's writing in her journal, she finds the Trillium flower and remembers William. On Will's side, he seemingly wakes up at the mention of his name. He has been very off lately, and Essie is missing files from her databank. Decidingly making light of it, William goes to work, and there is an accident. A man dies who looks identical to the one that William and his buddies found in the jungles of Issue 1. This wigs Will out, and he and Nika share a hallucination about being in the war, because PTSD is fun for no one. Will freaks out and gets the fuck out of there. He tries to find a way to access Essie's missing files, which apparently were not hidden by accident. They reveal an image of Nika, and both Essie and Will remember her. Expositional flashback! Nika had a mom who was awesome. Then a meteor shower happened, and Nika had to watch her mom drift away into space. That day, Nika learned that she would be alone forever, and that super sucks. Back in the 20th century, Nika's family thinks that she's bananas for going on about this second life that she never had. She doesn't help matters much by drawing the mouth of God on her bedroom walls. Commander Pohl, however, doesn't care about Nika's issues as long as she remembers how to shoot a gun, and she steals her away into the night towards the jungle. I guess they're hoping to shoot natives or something? It wasn't very clear why Commander Pohl was going back into the jungle at this point in the story. Like, I know that, like, she wants to maybe solve a mystery or kill people or something. So, but I guess all we need to know now is that Nika is headed back to the jungle. Meanwhile, William and Essie are combing over footage of Nika, and he decides that he's going to look for the temple again. But he has to do it quick, because the last of the humans are preparing to enter cryosleep for their long journey and escaping the call. Both Nika and William have to sneak away from their pals to find the temple, and in a page-twisting conclusion to issue 6, they discover that the temple has been destroyed! No! Will gets busted by Clayton, who insists he get in the ship. While William refuses to go because he knows Nika's under that temple somewhere, Clay decides to help him dig, like the awesome friend he is. Nika is greeted by one of the Atabithy, and after vomiting space feelings, the blue buddy leads her to the great machines under the temple. It's not magic, guys. It's science. Their friendship is cut short by the trigger-happy Pohl, who just happens to be using Nika to lead her to the temple. Nika decidedly bails, and is transported away from them, and to a field of endless trillium flowers. What I think is the dream version of Nika's mother appears, and points her towards the mouth of God. That's definitely not a vagina she's entering. Definitely not a vagina. She appears in William's world, safe and sound. Man, it would totally suck to be Clayton here. You've got the weight of the humans on your shoulders, and these two buttheads keep doing weird interdimensionary shit. So there is a second ship of humans that was headed towards this planet to meet up with the humans before booking it. But unfortunately for everyone on the ship is totally dead from an infection of the call virus, and they're on a collision course with the Atabithy planet. So at the end of issue 7, we're given the Atabithy an alphabet. So if I was so inclined, I could go back and translate everything the blue people and the brown people were saying to each other, and unfortunately I wasn't that inclined to do it. Like, they're giving it to me now, and like, it's so cool that like they put a lot of effort into like actually making like a cool kind of spacey looking alphabet, but I just I'm sorry, I can't bring myself to care enough to translate. The last issue of the series would like to reiterate that when the ship crashed, they are dead. It will be game over for humans. They have to get the boat off the planet before the ship explodes, and humanity might have one last chance. In order to do this in time before the explosion, Clayton decides to pilot a second ship and collide with the oncoming call, hopefully maybe distracting it long enough for Nika and William to escape. It probably won't kill the call because somehow its sentience allows it to survive in the vacuum of space, but I didn't see 3 spots on that statue, so Clayton's gotta go. Sorry, Clayton. Thanks for saving all of humanity. Nika and William manage to escape, but not without damaging the ship and losing half their power supply. The plan is to upload Essie to the cryo deck to act as an autopilot, disconnect the command deck from the cryosleepers in order to divert all the remaining power to keeping the cryosleepers alive and drifting in space until they find a habitable planet. Habitable planet. The problem is one of them has to stay on the command deck in order to do it, and the propulsion of the ship will force the deck too close to the event horizon of Trotter 6, and they'll be lost. Nika is totally ready to throw herself into the blackness of space, but William insists on going with her. They barely know each other, but they've just crossed time and space and the end of humanity in order to be together, and he's not going to lose her now. The plan goes off without a hitch. Essie transfers herself out of Nika's suit, and the two of them share a touching final goodbye. There's about an hour of power left in their suits, and Nika knows exactly what she's going to do with it. Trotter 6 is nearby, and Nika believes that the secret to entering the world she saw with the fields of Trillium lies within that black hole. William expresses a brief concern, but it's not like they've got much else to do with their time. The two of them are stretched beyond time and space and are brought face to face with each other's darkest memories, the times in their lives when they felt the most broken apart and completely alone. We turn the page, and in their darkest moments, William and Nika are there for each other, reaching out to pick them up. The two of them twist together into the fabric of time and space to form a star on the other side of the black hole. We close the series on a white-haired girl running into the village of paradise within the mouth of God. The end. Jeff Lemire, you've done it again! So let's start with the artwork in this series. The art of Jeff Lemire can be kind of hard to swallow, but the cinematography is really great. Cinematography, is there like a comic word for that? Like page layout, only more pretentious. I delight in the parallels that Lemire draws between Nika and William's shared experiences. Like I said, the twisty-turny pages can be kind of irritating. But my favorite issue is probably issue 5, where the story is kind of shown like on the top half and the bottom half of the page. My least favorite is every issue that makes you turn the page halfway through, like every 4 to 6 pages. So most of them. Call it a cheesy gimmick if you must. His artwork and stories are unapologetic in their rawness, and I love being able to read good stories with really good art in them that have just so much love poured into them. I just love it. Whenever you compare the artwork between Trillium and his earlier stuff in Essex County, like, you can see the improvement, so love it or hate it, I guess. The role of women in this comic is pretty awesome. Of the 5 main characters, 2 of them are women, and the third, Essie, is arguably of the feminine. I could just be projecting though, so if you disagree, you should let me know in the comments. This piece passes the Bechdel test with flying colors, if there's a comic equivalent to that. Nika is a especially strong character. Between her and William, she's definitely the doer. She learned at a pretty early age that life is gonna fuck you up, and as a result, she's pretty responsible for herself and her actions. This leaves William to be the more emotionally driven of the two as he learns to cope with his PTSD. And because he's had more practice with it, whenever Nika starts to freak out, William is able to be there for her and talk her through what she's feeling. Granted, the depiction of other ethnicities is somewhat problematic. Of the characters we're supposed to relate to, most of them are unsurprisingly Caucasian. The one person of character we had was Commander Paul, and she was a pretty cool character, but she was pretty evil and into killing a lot of people, including, like, unarmed innocent civilians, so I found that Commander Paul's objectives were a little vague after she left the 40th century. I still appreciated her go-getter attitude, even though the story made her into kind of a weak villain. The story doesn't really give Commander Paul an ending after Nika leaves the temple. I guess we're supposed to assume that she finds whatever she's looking for in early 20th century England, or doesn't, I guess? We don't see her again, so you're left to come up with whatever you want. Maybe in the creation of Paul, Lemire was trying to create the exact opposite of William's friend Clayton. Clayton's like a really nice white dude, and then Commander Paul is like a really angry, villainous black chick. So maybe that's like Lemire's best attempt at making the exact opposite parallel in a kind of, maybe he was trying to mirror it a little bit. He kind of does that a lot in the story, where he'll show kind of almost mirrors of Nika and William, and maybe that, like, Paul was supposed to be kind of a part of that, but I don't know. Because, like, Clayton packed up 1,000 human beings in a couple of hours to get them the fuck out of there, where Commander Paul was really obsessed with the Trillium on Atabithy. But, I mean, like, the girl's got the weight of the world on her shoulders, and all of a sudden the cure to the disease that's been hunting her species is just beyond her fingertips, so maybe she was just willing to risk more to get what you wanted. The ending to the story is a little vague in its conclusion, but that's not surprising for Lemire's work. I mean, I have no idea what's actually happening in those last pages. Did Nika and William actually see each other at these moments in their life? And if they did they, like, remove each other from the timeline? As a result, then placing their existence in Trillium? And if that's the case, then, like, what the fuck happens to the people around them? And the girl at the end, is she supposed to be Nika? Is she Nika and William's daughter? Or did gravity and energy and space and magic combine the two beings that were formerly known as Nika and William into a single entity that now exists within the mouth of God in the world of Trillium? And could this new being quite possibly be a metaphor for the stars that exist within every single being in the universe? And is she an avatar for the star we saw Nika and William become? Did I just combine Trillium and Andromeda together? I don't know. But it's pretty cool to think about. And I really appreciate that about Lemire's work. He has the tendency to be very existential. I've noticed an interesting trend from his earlier stuff like The Nobody, Sweet Tooth, Underwater Welder. They all have similar themes of loneliness and isolation. His leads tend to lose their mentors as a stepping stone into adulthood. They lose those who are closest to them and accept loneliness as a pillar of being human. Granted, I haven't read Lemire's earliest work in the early 2000s or Essex County yet, but once you see a trend in somebody's work, it's not hard to spot. This pattern begins to change in The Underwater Welder, where we watch Jack Joseph kind of accept his role as a father and husband. In the story, he manages to escape from our world into his own world, where he can finally be by himself and alone and not have to worry about responsibilities. But he quickly realizes how unhappy this makes him, and in the process says goodbye to the father that abandoned him in his childhood, and becomes a more functionable adult. And he does this by returning to his wife and kid. But what does this have to do with Trillium? In Lemire's latest work, we watch as two individuals trapped in their own prisons of loneliness and isolation taste the food of the universe and realize that they were wrong all along. The two of them, and perhaps all of us, are connected. We are not alone, as long as we have each other. It's so great to watch an artist develop not only visually, but in their writing perspectives as well. Say what you want of the story's clunkier moments. I probably won't disagree with you. But I love a story that reminds us that we're not separate from this world. We're a part of each other, part of this planet, part of this universe, and we're not exceptions to anything. Unless, of course, you're two white people who really want to make out. Thanks for watching, and I hope you liked this enough to give it a thumbs up. Maybe share it with somebody who likes comic books. Subscribe if you want to see more. Also, as of this video, Trillium has just finished its single issue release. So right now it's not collected in any trades, but that could change in the future. Jeff Lemire has a ton of work out right now, so if you're interested in seeing more of his stuff, I really recommend looking him up. Don't worry about the art style. It'll grow on you. Did you read Trillium and super hate it? Or you have a suggestion for something else I should review? Leave a comment down below. I have a couple Tumblrs and a Twitter account if you want to see more of my face and the stuff I do. I just really liked this comic book. Like, a lot. Oh my god. I'm gonna do a segment on comic book ads. Do you know what this is an ad for? This is an ad for Arrow. This is just a... Hey ladies, we know who's reading this, and we know what show you wanna watch. Thanks for watching. Bye.